In 1912, a young mother walked into Johns Hopkins Hospital seeking medical attention. She could not have known that what happened next would change the course of modern medicine. Her name was Henrietta Lacks. Her cells, taken without her knowledge, would become the first immortal human cell line, fueling breakthroughs from the polio vaccine to cancer treatments, IVF, gene mapping, and COVID-19 research. But behind the scientific triumph lies a story of injustice and exploitation. This is the story of the woman behind the cells and the legacy she never consented to leave. Henrietta Lacks was born Loretta Pleasant on August 1st, 1920, in Roanoke, Virginia. After her mother died, she was raised by relatives in a small cabin that had once been a slave quarters. Life was not easy, but Henrietta grew into a warm, determined young woman, known for her kindness, her bright red nail polish, and her love for dancing. She married her childhood friend and first cousin, David Day Lacks, and together they raised 5 children. Henrietta worked hard, cared deeply for her family, and dreamed of giving her children a better life. To the world, she was a normal woman. To her family, she was everything. In early 1951, Henrietta felt a knot inside her, a pain that grew worse with time. She went to Johns Hopkins Hospital, one of the few places that treated colored patients during segregation. Doctors discovered a fast growing cervical tumor. She began radiation treatments, the standard therapy at the time. But Henrietta's cancer was aggressive. Within months, it spread throughout her body. As she fought for her life, something else was happening, something she never knew about. During one of her treatments, doctors took small samples of Henrietta's tumor without telling her and without asking permission. This was common practice at the time, especially for colored patients who were often treated as research material rather than human beings. Her cells were sent to Dr. George Guy, a researcher trying to grow human cells. Every sample he had ever tried had died within days, but Henrietta's cells did something extraordinary. They lived, and they kept living, doubling in amount every 24 hours. These cells became known as HeLa, the very first immortal human cell line. They would grow to be shipped around the world, used in labs, sold by companies, and become a cornerstone of modern science, all while Henrietta's family had no idea. HeLa cells became one of the most important tools in medical history. They helped develop the polio vaccine. They were used to study cancer, HIV, tuberculosis, and Parkinson's disease. They enabled breakthroughs in vitro fertilization, gene mapping, and cloning. They were sent into space to study how cells respond to zero gravity. They even played a role in developing COVID-19 vaccines. Today, more than 70,000 scientific studies involve HeLa cells. They have saved countless lives, but the woman behind them never got to see the benefits. For decades, Henrietta's family lived in poverty while companies made millions selling HeLa cells. They didn't even learn about the cells until the 1970s, more than 20 years after her death. Her story became a symbol of racial injustice in medicine. It sparked national conversations about consent, patient rights, and bioethics. Because of cases like Henrietta's, laws and standards changed. Informed consent became a requirement for medical procedures. Patients gained rights over how their biological samples were used. Ethical review boards were established to protect human subjects. Medical institutions began acknowledging past exploitation of colored patients. Henrietta's legacy forced the world to confront a painful truth. Scientific progress should never come at the cost of human dignity. Henrietta Lacks died on October 4th, 1951, at just 31 years old. She never knew her cells would outlive her or that they would change the world. Today, her name is finally spoken with the respect she deserves. Her family continues to fight for justice, recognition, and ethical medical practices. And her story reminds us that behind every scientific breakthrough is a human being with a life, a family, and a voice that must be honored. Henrietta Lacks was more than a cell line. She was a mother, a daughter, a friend, and a woman whose legacy reshaped medicine. Her story is not just about science, it is about humanity.